Impact investing and the so-called Internet of Things will be on the agenda for Deloitte at the Asian Financial Forum 2015. Chris Harvey and Tim Pagett spoke to the Hong Kong Trade Development Council ahead of their participation for Deloitte at a panel during the forum. Mr. Harvey began by explaining how financial services providers need to adapt to changing technology and consumer attitudes.
When I look at the investments that I think financial institutions are going to be making, I think in broad terms, they're going to be making investments in technology, particularly in technology that is going to help them to combat the disruptive effects of new startup fintech type organizations that are growing very rapidly in the market today.
Impact investment is a concept that I know interests you. How does this differ from traditional evaluations for investment decisions? Can it deliver? Impact
investing means, very simply, making investments in things that do two things. Both make money, and that's clearly important, but secondly, also deliver social good and social benefit. You ask, will it work? Absolutely. Not only will it work, it does work. And there's plenty of great examples, both within Asia and more broadly across the world, of impact investing making a significant difference in society.
Well, the Asian Financial Forum is getting a reputation as a thought leadership platform. What do you expect to hear at the 2015 event, which will have a focus on sustainable development in Asia and beyond?
Looking from a financial services perspective, I look to hear a broader definition of the word sustainability. I think in the past we've used that rather loosely to mean green type issues. And although of course those are important, I think the experience of the last 8 years in financial services has shown us that unless we build sustainability into the financial system, then actually we're in danger of having a repeat of the financial crisis that we've just been through and hopefully coming out the other side of. So I'm looking to hear some real concrete ways in which financial institutions are thinking about, and regulators and governments, etc., are thinking about how they make the financial system sustainable for the future and for the long-term growth and development of all of our countries in Asia.
Well, at the Asian Financial Forum 2015, Deloitte will be presenting a session on the Internet of Things. Tim, why the choice of this topic and its focus on technologies?
The reason that we've chosen the Internet of Things is that when you're talking about sustainability within financial services, now you can't be sustainable unless you actually have a platform that contemplates some form of use of the Internet. And you mentioned it being about technology, whereas actually the Internet is not about technology. Technology enables a certain element, but actually for us, and actually for most participants in the financial services industry, technology and the Internet are just a way of life. It's a way of doing business. The social connectivity, the business connectivity, the interacted nature of the way that you deal with customers, the way that you deal with your staff, the way that you deal with your business, the way you deal with the future, is really what we're trying to cover in our session.
Well, do you see China-based financial services companies taking a greater interest in advances like the Internet of Things? And how do you see Hong Kong playing a role in merging the investment goals of technology and financial investment firms?
China actually, rather than having an interest, I think is actually playing a leading role in the development of the way financial services and the Internet of Things works together. So when you take, for example, what's happening in e-commerce, much of the infrastructure that we have in the developed world hasn't been developed in the emerging world. And China is just a microcosm of exactly what we see across the whole of Asia, in that e-commerce is taking over from traditional commerce, and supply chains and delivery processes are interacting with the e-commerce platform. The e-commerce platform is taking over from traditional payments. And because we now have the advent of mobile rather than the advent of poles and wires in a traditional sense, actually what you see is now the interconnected play between mobile, e-commerce, payments, and banking. And like nowhere else in the world, China represents almost, as you would say, a ring-fenced approach to how to deal with all the elements of this.
How significant do you see the Asian Financial Forum for promoting China's developing financial services industry through Hong Kong?
The AFF provides a fantastic platform to bring together some of the concepts that we see in the developed world, some of what's being tried and what's being successfully deployed in the emerging markets and the developing world, and to put that into a melting pot where actually we've got views that can be shared and experiences that can be shared in a way that actually I don't think you get in other parts of the world.